Hello all and welcome to our Crochet Designs. In today's tutorial we are working on part 2 of our pumpkin lovey. Gorgeous! This part here we'll be creating the dress, or the blanket, the skirt, whatever you want to call it, and then attaching our pumpkin's head to the outfit. It's very exciting. Now if you haven't created part 1, I've left a link to part 1 in the more section down below, or the description box down below. You can create that one, return here and finish off your pumpkin lovey with us. In the meantime guys, in part 1 you used the 3.5mm hook with Bendigo Woollen Mills yarn. Now I used 100% pure wool, but you can use acrylic, you can use cotton, whatever you want to use, and it is an 8-ply DK weight. You can use the Aran weight or a 4 weight if you have that in stock. I used the 3 weight. It just made it easier for me, but you can use the 10-ply or the Aran weight. It would still work. I did forget to mention that in part 1, but you can use an Aran weight, all right? But make sure you marry the hook sizes up with it. Now I used the 3.5mm hook, which was a hook size smaller, half a hook size smaller really if you think about it, than the hook you should be using. We should have been using the 4mm hook, but to keep the pumpkin nice and tight, I used the 3.5. Now we are changing to the 4mm hook for the actual dress pattern. When we do the border round, we will change to a 4.5. Now, if you don't want to do any of that, just use one size all the way through. The reason I changed to a 4.5, and it's starting to settle already, and I haven't washed and blocked, is because a 4mm hook with the last round would have tightened up your piece and made it curl like that. But using the 4.5, changing to the 4.5 at the end, which is the last round, it helped to loosen it up and stop the piece from curling up. All right. But for now, you're going to need the 4mm hook to make the dress part. You will need your scissors. You will need a sewing needle, a couple of stitch markers. The other thing you will need is probably between 50, we'll say 45 and 50 grams of each colour, maybe less, 40 and 43 grams. 40 for the green, 43 for the orange, of each colour, not all together, of each colour. All right, it just depends on your tension and everything and how many more rounds you want to do. Know that I only got to 7 inches. In the tutorial, when I got you to head off on your own and do the dress, I said between 6 and 8 inches. So if you were to go between 7 and 8 inches, I didn't do that last inch, you probably will need more yarn. I stopped at 7 only because I was running out of the green, but there you go. All right, so for now, I want you to go and grab your 4mm hook, your orange yarn and your green yarn, and join me here to complete our gorgeous pumpkin lovey. Good luck all. For the dress, if you wanted to change to a thicker yarn, you can do that. There's no rules for this kind of a project. I like to stick to the same yarn that I'm using, more for the dye lot purposes than anything else, but also for the texture. You want to keep the texture the same. The only difference is the dress will be a little bit more flowy by doing a hook size up. If you want to go another hook size up to a 4.5mm hook, that would be even better. Yours truly is sticking to the 4mm hook, and we are using both colors, but we are starting with the orange. All right, so once again, you're going to do a magic loop, okay? Grab the tail and give yourself a long tail this time, Mary. So give yourself, I don't know, this is what I say, 2 hands worth, yeah? And then start wrapping around your fingers that way. And that gives you plenty of tail, maybe even a bit more actually. 2.5 hands worth, yeah? That gives you plenty of tail to work with, yeah? So wrap around your finger like we did before, forming a little X. Pop your hook under the first loop, pull that back loop up and through. Let me just move all this out the way so you don't get confused. So what you have is 1, 1 and 2 in front. You're going to separate the 2 ones, hold everything though, don't let go, and you're going to chain 3. And a chain is yarn over your hook, pull a loop through, once, yarn over 2, yarn over 3, hold everything steady, pop your stitch marker in that top 2 loops if you can, otherwise do a double crochet first and then pop your stitch marker in. All right, so you still have everything steady. Yarn over your hook, you're going to make a double crochet US treble UK in the center right there. Pop your hook in, pull a loop through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops left, yarn over, pull through the last 2. When you get that done, you just give your tail a gentle tug, not too much, because you want to fit in more clusters, yeah? So yarn over your hook, you're going to put a second double crochet, US treble UK, pull through 2, pull through the last 2. So in this round, this chain 3 will act as a double crochet. So you've got 1, 2, and 3. You're going to chain 2, yarn over your hook once and twice, and then do another 3 double crochets in the center. Yarn over your hook in the center, pull a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over 2, 2, yarn over 2, and again a second one, 2, 2, and a third one, 2, 2, chain 1 and 2. So you've got now 2 clusters, cluster 1, cluster 2, and a chain 2 in between each cluster for the very next cluster. So you'll have 4 clusters in the round and 4 chain 2s. So do your 3 double crochets. We've done these before, guys. We've done grannies. If you haven't, I've left a little link in the description box down below on how to make a granny. Yeah, 1 and 2 again, and do your 3 double crochets. All right, this is super easy. This part is super easy, but you know what? Once you get here, you chain your 1 and 2. You've got, just grab that tail and hold on to it there at the back for a minute. You've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 clusters, and chain 2, 1, 2, 3, and 4 chain 2s. Before you slip stitch to join, just grab your tail and give your center, I'm caught up here, just give your center a tug like so, and your little circle magic closes up. That's why they call it the magic loop. Slip stitch into the stitch with your stitch marker, that tight stitch right there, pull a loop through and pull it through to the loop on your hook. Remove your stitch marker. Yep. You're going to do one more round in the orange, and then we're changing to the green. So, and by the way, you don't have to change if you don't want to. I'll show you what to do if you don't want to change colour. All right. So it's 1, 2, and 3. From here, you're going to pop your cluster in there. So you're going to crochet literally over your chain. So yarn over your hook. You're just going to jump back into the space you were in, pull a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2, and I forgot to put a stitch marker in the top of that chain 3. Make sure you pop that stitch marker. Oh, it's really tight, that chain 3. It's very, very tight, yeah? So make sure you put a stitch marker there, 1 double crochet and a second double crochet. So all together, including your chain 3, that's 3 double crochets. Yarn over your hook, you're going to jump straight into that corner there. And you're going to skip over all these double crochets and jump into that corner there with what I call a corner cluster set of 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, chain 1 and 2, and 3 double crochets, all in the same corner. All right, it's called a corner cluster set, or just a corner if you will. All right, so you've done 1 corner. This corner is half done. We're going to complete that in the round. All right. Now, no chaining to get out of the corner, but jump straight into the very next corner. So you're skipping these 3 double crochets and you're doing your corner cluster set of 3 double crochets, chain 1 and 2, and 3 double crochets. All right, that's your round here. Skip over the 3 and do a corner cluster set in the next of 3 double crochets, chain 1 and 2 and 3 double crochets. You can slow this video down, guys, in your settings if you like, if I'm going too fast for you. All right, so you've done 1 corner, 2 corners, 3 corners. We want to finish that 4th corner. So we're going to jump into there with 3 double crochets only for now. Chain 1 and 2 and slip stitch to join in that tight stitch. Slip stitch into your very tight stitch, Mary. Not you guys, your stitches are probably loose. But mine's very tight, it always is. So pull the loop through and pull it through to the loop on your hook. But guess what? You're going to pull up a loop, grab, it should go up more, but mine's caught under the table. Do that, and then just cut your thread and pull that loop through like so. All right, so now you're going to grab your green. So you're going to grab your green, and what you're going to do is you're not going to start in that corner. Just start in the corner just before it. Make sure that everything is correct before you do this bit. But the way we're going to do this now is we're going to do our corners like normal, but now we have that little space and we want to do a 1 cluster set in that space, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So pop your hook in the corner before your tail, pop the green over your hook, pull a loop through, passing your green forward, chain 1, 2 and 3. This time, Mary, don't forget your stitch marker. Okay, like so. And then you do 2 double crochets, like so. And you grab that tail and pass it at the back, jump into the next space. So you're jumping over your 3 double crochets, you're going to the next space with 3 double crochets. All right, so you're working along the sides, putting a cluster set of 3 double crochets in every side space. And in every corner, you're doing a corner cluster set. Now in this corner, we've got a tail. So pop your hook in, grab that tail, just passing it at the back behind you, and do 1 double crochet over that tail, like so. And then you do the rest of your corner of your 2, 3 double crochets, chain 1 and 2 and 3 double crochets, 1, 2 and 3. And what you've done is half a corner here, a side and a full corner. And now we're going to do a side. And a side consists of what we call 1 cluster of 3 double crochets. There are no chaining out of the corners. The only time you chain is when you're in the corners, you do 2 chains. So you jump into your corner with your corner cluster set. Now the reason I'm speaking like this is because when I do written patterns, that's how it will be written. Corner cluster, 1 cluster. That's how it'll be written. We'll talk about that in the future. 1 and 2 and another 3 double crochets in that corner, like so. In the side space, you're putting a cluster of 3 double crochets. 1 cluster, if you will, yeah? Then you get to your corner and you do your corner cluster set of 3 double crochets, chain 1 and 2 and 3 double crochets. Like that. In the side space with 3 double crochets. And then you have this corner to finish. What you've done is 2 corners like that. I'm lying. Let's try it again. 3 corners. I can't count. 1, 2, and 3. And now we need to complete that 4th corner. And you've also done your side cluster sets. All right. So do a set of 3 double crochets in that corner. 2 and 3. Chain 1 and 2. Sorry. 2 chains there. Tight stitch again. It's still not loose enough, yeah? Slip stitch into the top of your chain 3. That's not too bad. Or wherever your stitch marker is, pull the loop through like so. Now, from now on, we're going to change our colours in every round. For this round, I'm just going to show you how I would normally change, which will be cutting our green and adding our orange. Okay, and in the next round, I'm going to show you how you can carry up your yarn. And with this piece, you can. But for this round, remember what I did before? I did my next round in that first corner before the tail. Making sure everything is correct first. Attach your new thread. Chain 1, 2, and 3. Now you know this part because we did it in the round before, but we'll do it again. Just this section. Because now I want to show you you're doing your normal 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. And then you're popping your tail at the back like normal. Now you have 2 spaces that you need to fill in with 1 cluster. So the pattern, if you were going to read one of my patterns, it will say place 1 cluster in each of the next 2 spaces. So you're placing a cluster of 3 double crochets in each of the next 2 spaces, which is this one and the next one. All right. And from there, you would jump into this corner doing what you did with the orange. So grab your yarn, pop your hook in, take that tail and place it at the back. You can hold it with your fingers there. Pull up your loop like normal and then complete your stitch, letting go of your thread once you've covered it with that 1 double crochet. And now you're doing your normal corner set of 3, chain 1 and 2, and 3. All right, super duper easy, this part of the pattern. This is the easiest part of making your pumpkin Lovey, really it is. All right, I'm not going to tell you what to do here because I think you know, but I will tell you. You need to put a cluster, don't you love it? You need to put a cluster set in each of the next 2 spaces, exactly what you've done here. Then you need to do a corner. Cluster 1, cluster 2, corner. Cluster 1, cluster 2, and then you wait for me there. That's right, you're going to head off on your own and do this again. If you're not sure what to do, just go back to 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and that will show you what to do for the rest of the round. All right, 2 clusters along the way, corner cluster. 2 clusters along the way, corner cluster. 2 clusters along the way, wait for me there, making sure you are chaining 2 in every corner. Complete that, join me at the end of this round and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the round. Oh, it's so far away. And you needed to put your 1, 2 corner, 1, 2 corner, 1, 2 corner, 1, 2 corner all the way through. And then we're popping a final cluster set here. But in this round, I'm going to show you how to carry up your yarn so that you don't have to keep cutting like this. All right. So we're going to finish off our last cluster set here and then chaining 2. But halfway through there, we're going to change the colour to green. So yarn over your hook. You do your first double crochet in that space. Then you do a second double crochet. Then when you're doing your third, this is where you're going to change colours. You start your third double crochet, pull the loop through the first 2. You have 2 left. Normally you would yarn over, pull through. This time you're going to grab your green. like so. Yeah, pull that orange that way, grab the green and just pop it over the hook and pull the loop through like so. Grab the green at the back. See your orange? You're going to pass it forward over your green. Lifting up your green, you're going to chain 1. Drop the green, pass the orange back. You're going to chain 2. Don't do these stitches too tight. Yeah. Then you're going to, oh no you're not. And then you're going to slip stitch to join. Like so, like you would any other round. All right. Remove your stitch marker for a moment, holding your little orange in your hand for 1 minute. Yeah. Until you chain 1. Oops, chain 1. Grab the orange, pull it forward. Yeah. Chain 2. Grab the orange, pull it back. Chain 3. And leaving your orange just in your hand for a minute, just to get it out of the way. And you're going to do your 2 double crochets in this center. So yarn over your hook in the space and do your first double crochet. Oh, I'm sorry. You should have put your stitch marker in that 3rd chain. Now it's going to be a little awkward and a little tight because you have the orange stitch marker hanging off it a little bit, but do your best to get it in there. I'm not too worried about it right there. Yeah. So that's your first double crochet and then your second, like so. So you're starting your rounds exactly the same, but you are lifting up all these threads. Now you don't have to do this. I just want to try it. If you want to cut and start the other way like we did before, by all means do that. But otherwise, we're going to go across here having 1, 2, 3 cluster sets. So you do your double crochet of 3 double crochets, your set of 3 double crochets in that first space. Your set of 3 in the next space. Your set of 3 into your 3rd space before the corner. Very simple, the granny. I love doing the granny. I can do this in front of the TV. I just love it, yeah? In that corner, you're doing your normal corner. All right, so there's nothing different. The only thing now is that you've got 2 threads attached to your work. So that can get a bit tangled, which I'll explain to you in a minute. Chain 1 and 2 and finish off your corner. 1, 2, and 3. Whoops, that didn't work. I just did a half double then. Excuse me, Mary. Let's try that 3rd one more time. All right, like so. All right, so your round, and I'm going to let you do this, is cluster, 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 corner. 1, 2, 3, corner. 1, 2, 3, corner. 1, 2, 3. When you get to that corner, just wait here and finish off this last cluster. I'm going to tell you how we sort this area out and what you need to do for the rest of the dress, or the skirt if you will, for your Lovey. All right, so continue this round, get to that section, or actually the space before your corner. Meet me there and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, so here we are at the end of this round, and you should have, ignoring this corner, you should have 1, 2, 3, corner, 1, 2, 3, corner, 1, 2, 3, corner, and 1, 2, and 3. And now we are going to complete our corner. And know that we're going to change our colour as well. And this is where the magic of colour change happens. Okay, so you're going to jump into the corner and do 2 double crochets like normal, 1 and 2. And when you do your 3rd one, this is where you change your colour. So yarn over your hook, you start the stitch, yarn over, pull through the first 2. You have 2 left. Drop your green, grab the orange, pull that orange through both those loops, yeah? Chain 1, passing your tail forward, chain 2, passing your tail back, and slip stitch to join, like so. Pull the loop through and don't lose the stitch. Try it again. pull the loop through and pull that loop through to the loop on your hook. Remove your stitch marker. And you have done that. It's a little tight, but it's there. Then you're going to do the same thing we did before. You're going to chain 1, pass your tail forward, chain 2, pass your tail back, and chain 3. And in that same space, even though it looks a little tight, you're going back in there to do your 3 double crochets, or 2 double crochets, sorry, in that space. All right, so you did the corner. Now, quick tip, if you do this corner too tight, it will pull tightly. Just give it a gentle tug and it kind of all sorts itself out, right? You can continue to do this join as you go, and it will look odd on the back, but from the front, you won't be able to tell. To be honest with you, I won't be doing that. I rather do it in the round and cut my tails and weave in ends, because I want my work to look perfect all the way around. All right, so you have the both options to do it this way, where you cut and start the space before, or continue doing it that way. Entirely up to you. If you don't feel like weaving in ends, I don't mind weaving in ends. It's quite therapeutic. I do it in front of the TV. It's fine. Yeah, we're going to weave in some of these ends first. I'm going to show you how to weave in 1 or 2. Don't weave in that center end, because that center end we're going to use to attach our pumpkin on there once it's complete, once the dress is complete. All right, but we're going to weave in some of these ends, and we're going to do that now. Alrighty, so turn your work over. Now remember, we are not weaving in that first end at all. Don't touch that end, because we're going to use that to tighten up our center first, pass it through the top and sew it to our pumpkin. So for now, just grab the very first orange that we used, like so, and thread your needle. It doesn't matter, you can use the green, the orange, whichever. So it goes back under this set right here. Let's get a nice close-up for you. You can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to split a little bit of that first green thread there. All right, popping my needle through the stitches and going right through to the other side of the green. Not through that, through to the green, like so. Turn it over, make sure you can't see the needle from the front. And what I actually did was I went through some of the orange underneath as well. That will lock it into place, giving it strength, yeah? So pull that through, give it a gentle tug, turn it back, split another little bit of green from here, anywhere. What I find easier, there's another way of doing this, and I'll show you in the next set. Still continue to split it. And I've noticed that more recently the other way, where I won't do it with this one because it's already full. So this is the third time, making sure you can't see the needle from the front, yes, and just pull it through like so and cut it. I'm going to show you with another thread, all right. They're all in the corner, aren't they, which is a bonus. Let me show you with this top green one, all right. What I think is a better way of doing things, let's try this. And you're going through, splitting that first one like normal, and you're going through the stitches like normal. It's really super thick, which means I've gone through a lot of the green underneath, but I'm going to check that I can't see the needle, really important. But before I pull it through, sorry, I was going to show you that, wasn't I? Do it a stitch earlier, or a little thread earlier. So there's a little thread left there, all right? And then go back under that little thread and then through again. All right, I found that was a lot easier to do as well. This is super thick. So this, I'm only going to do the 2. Well, we've already crocheted over it once, so that's already the 3rd pass. All right, so that's another way of doing it. There's so many different ways that you can weave in ends, and if you have your own way, by all means, do your own way. Yeah, so that's that. Now the reason I'm showing you the ends is because now I'm going to show you what you can do, or what you can do for yours. All right, so what you want to do now, two things you need to know what to do. Now, another reason why I'm cutting my thread, by the way, real quickly, is I've got all of these. They're all the same dye lots, but they're big piles from leftover projects, but they're all the same dye lot. So I'll be cutting mine so that I can get rid of all my scraps. But you can carry your yarn up. That's why I'm not completing this round yet, because I'll be cutting mine, yeah? I might cut it on the next round now, but you can carry yours up. So what I was going to show you was this. When you wind up your ball of yarn, you're going to find that this will tangle because of the way we put the, the chain this way, that way, this way. It's going to tangle. So you need to detangle after every round if you're going to carry up. Well, I hope this makes sense, yeah? Make sure you detangle everything after every round. You'll only have 2 after every round, or 3. I had so many because, we've done 2 already, all right? So you'll only have 2. So that means you've detangled, you're going to start your orange, continue in the round, and then carry up your green if you want to carry it up. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because you're going to head off on your own in a moment, and you're going to do the amount of rounds you need to create your little guy's dress. Pop your little guy on there, fold it over, and then pop your little guy there. Grab your measuring tape, and I'm screaming in the camera, sorry about that, guys, and just measure from the top of your guy all the way down, this is the center of him, yeah, all the way down to between 6 and 8 inches. You can do any one of those. You can do 6 inches, 7 inches, 8 inches, 15 centimeters, 18 centimeters, or 20 centimeters. All right. Now, for me, I calculated that to get roughly around 20 centimeters, I would probably need to do another 19 more rows. It's an odd number because I'm going to land on the green. Now, I want to land on the orange, okay? So whatever you do, no matter what you do, make your last round an orange round, all right? Make sure that last round is orange, and then when we return, we'll do a border round, all right? So your job now is to head off on your own and make as many rounds as you want to make the length between 6 to 8 inches or 16 to 20 centimeters, whichever you're working on, and land on an orange round. If you make yours 1 round extra, a little bit longer, a little bit shorter, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you land on an orange round. You must finish this orange round. Meet me back here once you've done your rounds, and I will catch you all here once you're done. Alrighty guys, 15 rounds later, here I am. Now I'm just going to fold it in half so that I can measure it for you, because it's a little big for the table. Well, it took me forever, and it's not exactly the 8 inches. Like I said, I was going to do 19 rounds, but I didn't end up doing it. I got too tired. So it doesn't matter. We're still on 7 inches. So we're not exactly on 8 inches. I said between 6 and 8 is fine. 8 is another 2 or 3 more rounds, 4 more rounds, but I'm done. I'm too tired. And to be honest, I'm running out of the green. So what I'm going to do is finish off now. It doesn't matter, okay, because that's, let me bring that out to 1 again. Bring that out, sorry. It's pretty big. It really is pretty big for this pumpkin itself. All right, so the job we're going to do now, and in fact, I still haven't finished. There's another round, but it's not a round of doubles. I was going to do a fancy border round, but I've changed my mind on that too, because I think that, let's just finish off the last cluster set. I think the actual design being granny kind of stands on its own and needs a chain 1 and 2 slip stitch to join, and needs rather a basic border. Now you know how to slip stitch. I don't have a stitch marker here because I don't use them much off air. Don't tell them. All right, so it's kind of rather basic. Now this is entirely up to you if you want to do this. I'm going to change my hook size to go up to a 4.5 millimeter. Now the reason is, if I use the 4 millimeter with the stitch we're going to do now, it's going to tighten up our work. And I don't want it tight, I want it just to be sitting nicely. So I'm going to change to a 4.5 millimeter. So that's, we've used 3 hook sizes for this project. So there you go. So I'm going to change to the 4.5 millimeter, and let's do that now. All right. So let's move the 4 out of the way. Okay, and what we're going to do here, I'm just going to drop, this is the only tail I've got left. I've weaved in all my tails, except the last one, which we need. Yeah, that very first one, I should say, not the last one. Well, and the last one, I've got the last one there, which I'll talk about later. You may not have tails. You may have done what I did before with the carrying your yarn up. All right, so from here, we have our chain 3 and our 2 double crochets. That is the 1 cluster set. Even though it was a corner, we're classifying that as 1. So we're just going to chain 1 and ignore this stitch, which is the stitch that you'll be putting a half double crochet in at the end of the round. So we're going to ignore it. But what we're going to do is jump right into that very next stitch and do a half double crochet. So pop your yarn over your hook, just like that, yeah? And you're going into the stitch, if I can find the stitch, there. So you pop your hook in the stitch, not in any space, but in the stitch, and that's your top 2 loops there. Pull your loop through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, grab your stitch marker right there. All right, now your half double crochet is in your second stitch here. So on the way back, when you get to the stitch just before this one in that chain stitch there, you're going to need to pop a half double crochet in there. Just don't worry about it for now. I'll explain that to you at the end. All right, but for now, see all these stitches that you have here, yarn over your hook, you're in this one, go into the next one with a half double crochet. Yarn over your hook, half into the next. Yarn over your hook, half. Now remember what a half is. It is yarn over your hook, in the stitch, pull a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 3. That, guess what guys, is pretty much it. Until you get to your first corner, and then you have a little change in your pattern. All right, so what I want you to do, which is a very easy, that didn't work, let's try that again. We're not winning today. It's a very easy step. Grab your stitch marker, any stitch marker that is, don't have to be a fancy one, go all the way along your row, your side, and get to that very first corner. All right, I don't want you to sit here and watch me do half double crochets all the way across. You know how to do the stitch now, so you're doing that stitch all the way across, get to this corner, meet me there, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do in the corners. Alrighty guys, so I've done my first side and I asked you to get to this corner right here. I have my last 3 stitches, last 2, I've gone into the first one and the second one and your third one right there, like that. There's your stitch marker. Remove your stitch marker, place, let me get some more thread here, yeah. Place 3 half double crochets in the space right around your stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. Now being careful when you start your next side that is a stitch right there. So yarn over your hook, you're popping 1 half double crochet in that stitch right there. All right, and then half double crochets all the way across your piece yet again. So there's no difference, everything is the same. The only difference is that you have placed 3 half double crochets in that corner. All right, so guess what you're going to do? That's it. That's all you need to do for this round. Half double crochet into every stitch across, 3 half double crochets in the corner, move your work over, find your very first stitch, don't omit it, yeah? And then half across, 3 in your next corner, move it over, don't omit that first stitch, half across, get to the last 3 double crochets here, just before your corner, meet me there and get excited guys. Once we get that round done, we're going to attach this guy, all right? So complete this whole round, get here, and I'll meet you there once you're done. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of this round. Get way too excited. Yeah, get way too excited because it means that we are nearing the end of our project here. Half double in your last 3 stitches. 1, 2 and 3. And to be honest with you, while I was off air, I weaved in that last end down there. Yeah. All right, so yarn over your hook. You're going to go into that corner with 3 half double crochets. 1, 2 and 3. Now, if you remember correctly, in the previous round, we slip stitched to join into that chain, and then we chained 1 and we did our first half double crochet in the second stitch. So we need to place a half double crochet into that chain that we slip stitched into, and you can see it's pulling anyway. So half double crochet into that chain right there, and you can see it, and then you slip stitch to join, pull a loop through, pull it through to the loop on your hook. You could use the fancy join if you like. I don't use that anymore. I don't like it. It's as simple as that. And then you just pull up a loop, check your work, make sure everything is perfect, cut this little guy for the very last time. Yay! All right, so moving right along, she gets way too excited, guys, way too excited. So I've done the corner, and by popping that half double crochet over that chain stitch actually closes up the area there, so it's looking like one piece rather than having a big gap there. All right, flip your work, get excited. First one we're going to leave that tail for now. We'll do that later. Actually, no, let's do it now. Let's get it over with. Just grab your needle and your thread and weave it. Now this is a bit of a thicker needle, so hopefully it doesn't look too bad. So what I usually do with this tail is I turn the back. Let's move all this out the way. That's the front of it where we just slip stitched into. I turn it back and I go into a back loop of the stitch just before it. So there's your full stitch there. I go right down. It's not actually into the back loop. It's like a back stitch, yeah, right there. And actually I do tend to split that stitch a little, and I just pull that down right there at the back, and the knot is hidden because it's pulled down at the back. Then I continue to take this little guy right down through some back threads. I'm not putting it through the whole stitch. I'm just splitting some yarn and I'm pulling it down, and I'm going to pull it down into these. We're too far away. Let's get in here so you can see. Yeah, I'm going to pull it down into these half double crochets that we've crocheted before. So now that thread is getting weaved in. This is a thicker needle. I shouldn't have used this one, but anyway, through those half double crochets, splitting some thread on the inside, making sure you can't see the needle from the front. Yeah, so we're going to pull that thread through. Now don't pull it too tight because that is still attached. If you pull it tight, that's going to pull down. So just pull it a normal tension. Yeah, then you want to go back into the other direction again, the opposite direction again, splitting some yarn and some more stitches on the inside. Let's have a look. Can't see the needle. Fantastic. Pull that through. You know what? This is the last thread. Guess what? I'm going to do it one more time. I'm a little pedantic like that, you know. I personally, like anybody else, I don't like tails. But when I do have them, I weave them in really, really well. So 3 times 4, if you're pedantic, okay, is fine. So cut that there. You're done with that guy. You don't have to worry about tails anymore, except that very last guy right there. But this one here, we're going to tighten up the area, sew it through, and then attach our guy to it. This is the wrong side of our work at the moment, all right? So thread your needle, okay? And it doesn't really matter if you don't tighten this up much because you're going to attach your head with this yarn, but you still want to literally tighten it up a little. So this is where we came oops, this is where, maybe it is too close. Let's bring that down a bit. This is where we came out of. So we're going to go into the first few stitches there. Just check the front, make sure you can't see that needle. You can see it there, but it's in the spaces, all right? Just make sure you can't see the needle and you just pull that thread through and it's tightened it up. Remember, this was a magic loop. This had no knots. Magic loops kind of don't have a knot and they can come undone. So continue into the very next 3, like so. Check the front if you want. I know by how the texture feels in my hand that the front is okay, that's experienced, but check the front if you are not experienced. Like right now I put that through and realised it was too deep, so I went a bit higher because I know it'll come through in the front. It doesn't really matter in this case because we're going to be attaching our head. Now normally, let's put it through one more. Normally I would go back in the other direction. Not going to do that because we're going to attach the head from the outside and it's not going to be noticed, all right? So just pop your needle through the center of your work like that. Flip your guy, and right now he's on the right side of your piece, yeah? Just give it a gentle tug. You don't want that coming undone. It's not going to, because you are going to attach this guy right now. All right, so there's no right or wrong way of attaching him. You can attach him where you want. I found that the part where it looks like we sewed the pieces together, I'm going to pop that, what I like to call the back, facing the back. And I like to have his front this way, but it doesn't matter because when young one's carrying him, he's not going to know which is the front or the back. So it doesn't really matter. Just make sure that you are popping. This is the center of your piece, yeah? Let's get a close-up of that. Oh, that's too close. I really get too close sometimes, don't I? That's the center of your piece. And what you want to do is find just a little center right here, just a little tiny center. A few threads just for now and pull it through. Then go across to the other side and do another center there. So a little bit on one side, a little bit on the other, like so, yeah? And then you see where your guy is right here? You're going to pop him a little bit over here. All right, and when you pull that thread through, he's going to straighten up a little. That's not enough. That, baby carries that around, that's going to come off for sure. So you're going to do this. I've spun it around a few too many times. Excuse me, Mary. Oh, give me one moment, guys. She's twisted it. See, that's what's going to happen with baby, yeah? You don't want that. All right, so it's all straightened up, yeah? Keep it nice and steady. You are now going to, you can leave it like that for now. But what you want to do is start, this is what happened last time when we did Guy. Start going on one side and then the other. And then you do it again. That side, that side, that side, that side. So what I'm going to do, this was across this way. So now I want to get the needle. See where the two threads are? One is up there and one is down here. Now we want to go on the opposite side, or in between it, but on the opposite side. So if you look at it, it's kind of in between on the opposite side. All right, so pull that little guy through like so. And once again, you're going through here, just the center of him. Yeah, and I just pin myself. Hello. No blood, that's as good. It's good, it's okay. And then you're going to the opposite side there. In between these two threads, you're going there. Again, there is no right or wrong way of doing it. Make sure you are actually splitting some stitches and you're not going through spaces. You need to be going through some stitching, yeah? So there, like so. All right, so at this stage, he's still a little bit wobbly. I'm going to pop this on fast and I want you to go in and out on all the different angles of the head. Now, he's not, look at that. He's so much space here. The next time I come through will be around here and that'll bring him down there. All right. And then come over here and do that. So I'm going to pop it on fast so you can slow down your video if you like. And I won't talk as much. And that'll get you started right there. See right there, because this guy still hasn't come down. So I'm going to pop him there and I've split some fibers there. As you can see, I haven't gone through the space. I've split some fibers. And I'm pulling this guy up going across this way, like that. And already he's starting to sort himself out. All right, I'm going to pop this on fast, and you continue doing this in the round as you go, and off you go. Alrighty guys, I'm still struggling with his head wobbling a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just do this. Fold him a little bit, like that. Because I think the head is a little too heavy for this. So I'm just going to go into some stitching this way, like that. I went through the actual cushion part of his head. Yeah, trying to remember how I did Guy now. We had Guy done not long ago, and I don't know if I've got an image up there of Guy at the moment, but I'll pop it up later if I find it. If not, I do apologise. We're going to go through this way, like that, and we're going to go through the thickness of some of the, I don't know, fluff and stuff, whatever you want to call that fluffy stuff on the inside, polyfill, polyfluff, whatever. Yeah, there. And I think this is a little better. And then just through some thicknesses like that. I found that's tightened up his head a little more. His head is very much tighter. Still not enough. Don't you love it? She's just not happy with herself. Because I'm going through the thicker part of the polyfill now, and I think that's helping his head to stay down. I reckon that's enough. I'm going to pop the needle through the base for a minute. Have a feel of it. I think that's plenty. We're going to flip him over. Once you think you've had enough of weaving ends in, hold his head nice and tight like that. Get this guy, and you're going to do some weaving in ends of this tail. Don't go too low, because then you're going to be moving his head around. So go up the top a little bit like that. It's very thick. And just go through some of the fluff and fluffs on the inside. Just make it up the top a little, and not so much on the sides. On one side like that. And then go down and through. I'll go a little bit further this way. And through to the opposite side. Not too low, make it high, yeah, but you're going through some of the fluff and fluffs. That's how thick this is, and I've got no more tail left, but if you've got more tail, you can do it again and again until you feel comfortable. Once you're comfortable, you give him a cut. I would go through another 2 times if you've got a long tail, all right, but if not, don't worry about it. There he is. Oh, hello. And there's your little guy. There he is. Ta-da! And I've done him so that he's like this. But it doesn't matter, because no matter how you put it, if you put him like that, or if you put him like that, it doesn't matter. He's your little guy, and you can have him any way you want, or any way your little one desires. Okay, look at that. Just have him there like that. You can have him just flopping everywhere, you know. He's a floopy floppy guy. He's a floopy floppy guy. All right, I'll show you a better photo in the promo anyway, and there you go. All right, he does need a washing and blocking, and how you wash and block this little guy without dipping his head in is a bit of a tricky one. I should have washed and blocked beforehand. But anyway, guys, if you still have tails, please go ahead and weave those ends in. My guy is complete. Now all I have to do is name him. I don't know what to call him. Pumpkin head? I don't know. Pumpkin Lovey? I don't know. I think the tutorial will just go up as Pumpkin Lovey. And there you go. All right. Thank you very much for watching us with this particular series of our, I don't know, I suppose you could call it an amigurumi series because there was some amigurumi involved, but more so our Lovey series. This is a second Lovey we've done on the channel. For those of you who know Wow Crochet Designs very well, you would know that we have Guy who sits above me on our lives at 4 p.m. Wednesday afternoons, 10 a.m. Saturday mornings, Melbourne, Australia time. Marry that up with your country. And he sits right there. This live, or this Saturday morning's live, you're going to get to see Guy and this fella right here, which I haven't named yet. So thank you very much for watching. My name is Mary. This is Wow Crochet Designs, and I'll catch you all soon. Ciao for now.